Hi, welcome to the Wired
and Rewired podcast, a podcast all about the hit HBO series The Wire.
I'm Chris, and this is my 1,000th time watching The Wire.
And this is Ellie. It's my first time.
If you're new to the Force or a longtime veteran, we think you'll find something here to enjoy. Today, we cover Season 2, Episode 1, Ebb Tide. And we start, as we always do, by popping a recap. In the Season 2 premiere, Detective Jimmy McNulty, exiled to police boat duty, finds the body of a woman ghosting, floating in Baltimore Harbor.
Ghostly floating.
Yeah, sure. Bodie drives to Philly to make a connection for the Barksdale crew, and Stringer Bell takes the train to New York to feel out the crew's reticent suppliers. I had to look up reticent. I thought I knew it was one of those words where you think you know what it means.
Yeah.
But it means just not revealing your inner thoughts.
Right,
Like
yes.
So, anyway. Okay. It was written by David Simon, and it was directed by Ed Bianchi. This is his second episode directing. He also directed The Wire from Season 1, Episode 7. So, and it premiered on June 1st, 2003, roughly a year after the series premiere. So,
oh, really?
Okay.
A whole year?
Yeah.
Okay.
But before we get started,
Yes.
Ellie, this is Season 2.
We
took a little break.
We did.
How have you been? How are you?
Doing all right, man. Trying to get back into the swing of The Wire.
Yeah.
Watching it, rewatching it, taking the notes, remembering who everybody is and all the complicated plot lines that we left behind. Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. And, for those who don't know, Ellie and I see each other like every couple of days pretty much because we live right down the street from each other. So it's just one of the funny things where, oh, yeah, I know how she's doing. I pretty much saw her last week. But in any case. All right. Well, with all the pleasantries out of the way, let's hit the epigraph.
Let's do it. It's Ain't Never Gonna Be What It Was by Little Big Roy.
Yep. So first, let me ask, as you watched the episode, did you pick up when this was said?
I absolutely did not. And that was one of my questions for you is, when did they say this and who's Little Big Roy?
Okay. Well, this actually brings up a really interesting topic, and it actually segues, I think, quite nicely into our next topic. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to ask, so this is Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of Season 1, we talked about not doing any predictions because basically there was no way for you to know.
Right.
I could have asked, and I could have said, well, you're wrong about this and this and this. But I decided to give you a break. But in any case, so obviously they started in a whole new environment.
Right.
And so I wrote down, on a scale of 1 to Twin Peaks, how hard was it to follow this story of Episode 1?
For Episode 1, this one, it's I'm starting to see already by the end of it, where things are kind of heading, how things will be connected between the Marine unit and back with Homicide, where McNulty came from. And even the opening, the differences in the opening, the images that you see, like women and lipstick, white women in particular, started giving me some hints about where this may be going. Okay.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, in that case, I think that's really... I'm messing with my levels here, and it's really screwing my head. So, okay, there you go. No, that's actually really a great observation because I think for a lot of people, when Season 2 began, they were like, who the hell are these people? And they'd invested so much into the previous. And so the fact that you're seeing this broader.
Freeman?
Yeah. And so, okay, well, in that case, I had a follow-up question. And so to that, which is like, you understand like kind of where the story is headed, but do you see like maybe is there anything that's kind of giving you a different perspective on kind of the broader view of what's happening here? I know that's kind of not a very good.
No, not yet.
Okay, well, I don't want to give up. I don't want to give away too much. Yeah. I spent a lot of time debating whether to kind of give away one of the more important kind of components of the Wire series.
Okay.
But I decided, I'm going to try to thread this needle. So I wanted to just share here that you very astutely observed that the opening scene has all different images and that kind of thing. And so, of course, that there's going to be a different story here already. But I think Season 2 in particular, it benefits from a rewatch, like after you've seen the entire series, not just like within the context of it.
Okay.
But because we're probably not going to do all these episodes again after you've seen it one time. It seems like a lot of work. I did want to just share something here, which is that there is a broader perspective that they're trying to build. So from All the Pieces Matter, there's a story about David Simon. He said initially, if I get to tell a singular story about the drug war in season 1, and they cancel me, at least I'll have that one season. So he was kind of going into it thinking, I want to tell at least this one story. Once they got picked up for a second season, he decided, okay, I'm going to build the city. So now he is starting to broaden. It's not just about drugs, although of course drugs are still present in the season episode 1. Excuse me, the episode 1 story. There is this broader perspective. There's the city itself is starting to get built in greater detail.
Yeah,
and sure. So I wanted to just share that part of it because it's going to be something that I'm going to be calling out as we go through this season. And so I wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
Okay.
I hopefully that's not giving away too much, but it is just something that it's important to understand, like the vision of David Simon. And he ultimately, interestingly, Ed Burns, his co-creator, was really against it. The season 2 storyline.
Oh, really?
He wanted to. They had done all this work to build up the world that Ed Burns knew from his policing days, and he wanted to stay in that universe. And David Simon said, it's important that we have these other components involved. And I think that as we get through this season, and then ultimately through what is shown in this season is really crucial to understanding the broader vision that David Simon was creating. So hopefully that was excuse me, a not too lengthy diatribe, but as we talked about in season 1 quite a lot, hopefully it was clear that it wasn't just cops versus criminals, right? But we spent a lot of time talking about Bubbles and Johnny and addiction and things like that, and how the drug war isn't just about good guys versus bad guys. There's all these other components involved. And so, again, this is going to be part of the theme.
Yes.
Okay, so now with that preamble out of the way, Ellie and I discussed how we want to approach this episode. So why don't you lay it out for our listeners how it's going to go?
Yeah, I think we're going to do this the way that we kind of started out the first season. At this point, the storylines are not woven together yet. And so we're going to basically kind of follow, I guess, 3 main storylines. I'd like to maybe first talk about the team, where they all are now in the wake of Avon being arrested, and then talk about Avon's crew, what's going on with them at this point, and then get into what's happening with these dock boys at the shipyard.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
All right, well, let's get into it.
Let's get into it, shall we? So, we open up with McNulty, and we remember McNulty before leaving on a boat. Here he is on a boat. He's freezing. He's in the Marine unit, and we find out through some conversation that he's having with the other guy on the boat that McNulty's dad worked in the shipyard at some point before he was laid off, kind of getting an idea that this is not a very stable sort of work, maybe. Anyways, they find out that there is a lovely yacht called Capital Gains, which isn't running and needs to be towed. And they don't want to be towed right then. They're having a party. They're having fun. And so Jimmy takes a bribe in order to be towed back later. So that's where we are.
Yep. Yeah. So I want to just call out that the 2 guys working on the engine, the starter, they're just staring. I don't know what they think they're going to solve there. That was just clearly what's called window dressing.
Yes.
I did think it was funny that the song that's playing as they get on, it's called Blue Skies, which I think is kind of hilarious.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, well, I have to credit Alan Sepinwall for that, but it's just like they're sitting in the middle of the shipping channel where these giant boats are going to be going by, and they're all just dancing.
Yeah.
And so the metaphor is not particularly subtle.
Yeah, no kidding.
So just to close off, McNulty ending up on the boat. Turns out that Ed Burns, who is kind of the proxy for McNulty, or McNulty is his representation in the show, he hated boats. His dad had a boat, and he hated the diesel smell. So, of course, that's why they were trying to figure out where McNulty would end up after essentially fucking everybody and everything that he could in season 1. And of course, he ends up in the boat. No, we knew that from season 1
during the montage. But it's kind of funny because I thought that he wanted to be on the boat because I thought that he probably told Rawls that where he didn't want to be was outside because he really wanted to be outside or something like that. So until later, which we'll talk about, I did not realize that this was him being screwed.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, then let's all right. Let's see. Is there anything else about this? Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move along.
Yeah. Let's move on to Prez. Pryzbylewski now is trying to convince his father, who is Commander Stan Valchek of the Southeastern Police Quadrant, I don't know, whatever. District,
Yeah.
yes, there you go. It's his father-in-law, that he should work maybe in narcotics. He wants to be, he's making a case. He says he wants to be part of some meaningful work. Like what he did with Daniels was really meaningful, and he felt like that was something he would like to continue. In the meantime, his father-in-law is barely listening to him, and he's just looking at all of these stained glass panels. He holds up this one of doves and, police officers helping children or whatever. Ultimately, Valchik says, no, you're going to play it safe. You're going to do what I say. And, if you listen to me, then you will ultimately have a career in this. So, Pryzbylewski doesn't care about making rank. His father-in-law has different thoughts for him.
Yeah, and so my question, I think, to you is, we knew pretty much who Stan Valchek was.
Yeah.
This is essentially reinforcing to you who he was. Okay.
Yes.
And with the reintroduction of Pryzbylewski, did it also reinforce for you sort of where he left off at the end of the season as well? Okay.
Yeah, like he was very, motivated and energized by that work. He felt valuable, and he wants to continue doing something where he feels, valuable and interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels a little bit of a shame that you have someone who has had a successful career.
Yeah.
Where clearly doing good police work doesn't make any difference.
Right.
So, and it's kind of stark how Valchik just lays it all out. It's like, me, therefore do this, keep your nose clean, and you'll just make a lieutenant in 2 years or whatever the time frame was. And it's like, wait, don't I have to make a case? That's not really relevant.
Doesn't really matter. And then, it's irrelevant that he has, kind of a gift, right? Like he can figure out these puzzles. He has this brain that works in this particular way that puts these pieces together. And that is not that important, even though it's incredibly valuable to police work.
Exactly. And he has the passion for it, too. Yeah. That's really so much of what's tragic about this, is that his father-in-law, he's like, what do you care? Like,
look at me feeling sorry for Pryzbylewski.
I know.
Who knew that day would come?
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. It's almost like we need to cut the clip from season 1 where Prez, you're such an asshole. Just remind
ourselves.
We're aware. Anyway, I think, that's it. That covers it.
Right,
now, sorry, I did want to ask. So the dove, it becomes clear otherwise. Did you know what that was in the moment? Do you remember?
I just thought this guy was really into stained glass.
Okay.
And I just thought he was going to put it up in his office, or he had it for home or something. I was really confused by that at that time.
Okay. Well, we will come back to that comment in a little bit, but yes. Okay.
Yes. Cool. We move on to Bunk, who's still in homicide, and he comes to see McNulty. He says it's time to try the Gant case, and one of the people they need is Omar, who is still in the wind, and he is wondering if McNulty knows where Omar is. He also tells him that Landsman was his $10, and this is where we find out that Jimmy is not where he wants to be, and that it was probably Landsman who told Rawls that where Jimmy really does not want to be is the Marine unit. So, yeah.
Yep. So, I guess there's not really much to it. I mean, obviously you were clear on what the reference was. And,
yeah. It was interesting to me just, getting into this season, though, that this is like something left undone from the previous season. And, I guess for me, I kind of thought that would have been completed in the meantime. But here we are. We're still dealing with that situation.
Yep.
Yeah. We go to Lieutenant Daniels because Bunk goes down for evidence of the case, and he goes down there to the area where the evidence is stored, and out pops Lieutenant Daniels. And he has been seriously demoted. I mean, I don't know if his rank is the same. Maybe, okay, but yeah,
it is.
His rank is the same, but he is in a very undesirable area of policing.
And in fact, sorry, I don't know if you caught this, but when Landsman was laying out all of the terrible places that McNulty could end up in season 1, episode 1, evidence control was one of
Evidence
them that he
control.
called out in particular.
Okay.
So that's where Daniels went.
Okay, well, it's not the pawn shop unit.
No, I guess not. Yeah.
So, anyways, Bunk explains that they're going to be trying Bird, and Daniel says, give him my love.
Detective? I heard they posted you down here, but I mean, damn. These motherfuckers don't play, do they?
So what brings you downstairs?
I was pulling evidence on the gang case. Trial date for Bird is next month, and Eileen Nathan wanted to be ready.
Will you give him my love?
Who?
Bird.
Anyways, the guy who went to go get the evidence for Bunk comes back and says, hey, there is no evidence. And they end up ultimately taking apart that whole evidence area, pulling down bags and boxes and things like that. And so far, it's to no avail. And they may be there, for all we know, all night trying to look for evidence that is apparently not there anymore.
Yeah.
Or at all.
Yeah. And so the question that came up for me when I was rewatching this was, if Daniels hadn't been connected to the Bird case and he didn't know Bunk, and Bunk had a murder trial and he's trying to get the evidence, I wonder if he would have fought as hard. I think with Daniels, if Daniels in particular, someone who actually cared about the job, irrespective of whether he needed the case or not. But
if evidence is supposed to be here, then it better be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be his mentality.
Yeah, but it just feels like the fact that Officer Burns just like, well, sorry, you're no evidence here. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this is a murder case. Are you telling me you just went back and checked a shelf and that doesn't exist, therefore the evidence doesn't exist? Anyway, I think at this point we can probably put to bed the notion that the story has pretty much been told, that police bureaucracy is kind of a big problem.
Oh, it's thick.
All right, but yeah, so okay, so now we know where Daniels ended up.
We know where Daniels is. Yeah, so we've got McNulty, we've got Press, we've got Bunk, we got Lieutenant Daniels. Now we know where Kima is, because Kima is in the forfeiture unit. Mm-hmm. She has a desk job now. She still can't type, unfortunately. We remember that from the first season. Mm-hmm. Herc comes in, good old Herc, and he comes in. I love this. He complains that, basically white drug dealers are idiots. He says it's kind of unfair how dumb they are and that they need affirmative action to help them out. It is pretty hilarious. He's like, they have no codes, they have no, drops or anything like that. It's just too easy.
Fucking white boys, I love them. I fucking love them.
Yeah?
Dumb as a box of rocks.
Who?
White boys. Talking about the brain deads in my Kane Street case. I call him up. I tell him I want to buy some drugs. You know what he says? He says, okay, I'll sell you the drugs. How much drugs do you want? I swear to God, Kane, they don't code it. They don't ask for a meat, nothing. And then when you make the deal, there's no running, no bullshit. It's the guy himself walking up to you in the parking lot saying, I brought the drugs. Did you bring the money? No, I'm not kidding. I have much respect for black people after working with these idiots for 2 weeks. No, seriously, if white boys want to sell drugs in Baltimore, I have to make different laws for it. Like even it out for them.
Affirmative action.
Leave no white man behind.
Anyhow, Herc is in need of Kima's help with the seizures, and he's like, can you do this for me? She's basically like, dude, you're the sergeant now. You need to do all the legwork. I'm just here to do the affidavits.
Yeah.
And anyways, he says, well, why don't you come with me when we go on these raids tomorrow for these seizures? And she says that, she made a promise not to, that she has made a promise to Cheryl, her girlfriend, that she's going to be safe. She's going to take a desk job. And Herc basically tells her that, not basically, he does tell her that she is P-whipped. I'll leave it at that.
What's the P stand for?
What's the P stand for?
Okay. Yep. Yeah, so I took a note here that just said, Herc came in and he had all this, to me it felt like he had a lot of promise, right?
Yeah.
It seems like he's making good cases, and he's getting these guys to admit to, or to sell drugs to him, and he's making arrests. And then when it comes time to actually doing some of the less exciting parts of the job, he's like, I thought you all do that for me. So
do that?
Same old Herc.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I still kind of like him though.
Yeah, he's a
blockhead.
lovable. Yeah, exactly.
He's a lovable
lunkhead. I think a lunkhead is
lunkhead.
it's someone who's lovable but is clearly lazy and dumb,
Yeah.
or I don't know. So,
I'm liking him better.
yeah, okay.
We go now to McNulty and Bunk, who are drinking. And this is, where Bunk asks, where's Omar? And I can't remember. McNulty says, he's like, what?
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Who? So I don't know if he's doesn't know where he is yet, or if he's just not saying where he is because of some tacit agreement he has with Omar. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe he doesn't know.
Yeah, you know what? Let's revisit.
Okay.
We'll revisit this, I think, a little bit later down the
right.
line. Because
Okay.
I think there's it'll be, so let's just put a pin in it.
Okay.
Come back, because I'm curious to know your perspective when sort of that storyline resolves itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know. It's the next morning after McNulty and Bunk have been drinking all night, and there is a floater. It's a woman. They cannot bring her into the boat, or else her body might fall apart. So they basically drag her alongside the boat to bring her into shore. And Ray Cole gets called in from homicide. We remember him from last season. And initially they think that she has jumped off a bridge, so that she has committed suicide. So that's what we know at this point. McNulty later goes into homicide to check in about this Jane Doe that they have found. He does at this moment confirm that Landsman is the one that told Rawls he did not want to be in the Marine unit, and that's why he's there.
Look who it is. Sailor boy. You owe me 10.
Fuck you. You're the guy told Rawls where I didn't want to go. You made it happen, Jay.
I told him where you didn't want to go. Exactly.
Yeah, and they sent me there.
I knew Rawls was pissed. I didn't know how pissed. What can I tell you?
Where's Bunk?
Out on a call with Crutchfield.
What's up with our girl? She come off the bridge or what?
Doc Fraser posted her today. Came up with blunt force trauma to the head and chest. He's saying she's dead before she hits the water.
What about the defense wounds? Bruising on 3 fingers? You saw that as soon as we picked her up.
You missed the defense ones?
I wasn't looking. Thought she went off the bridge, so?
Also, she's in the drink with no coat or shoes on. Now, maybe that stuff comes off from the water, but maybe not. And I don't see her making her way out to the Key Bridge in winter dressed like she was. But then that's just me. Tell Bunk I was here, will you? Have fun.
Oh, we already had our fun. Dumping her on Balmer County.
On the county?
You fished her out east of the bridge, right? That's Balmer County. She's their stat.
You sold them on that?
Rawls did. He called up the colonel, said, you got one hell of a murder on your hands. It's all about self-preservation, Jimmy. Something you never learned.
Anyhow, Cole says that the coroner said she was dead before she hit the water. And then McNulty, because he is still a really good detective, asks about her defensive wounds. And Cole's like, what defensive wounds?
Yeah.
So you didn't look? I didn't think I needed to look. And then also the fact that she had no coat and no shoes. And throughout this whole episode, everybody is freezing their asses off outside. You just see them shivering constantly. Maybe
Yeah.
cold just to watch it. So, there's something up with the fact that she has no coat and no shoes. Maybe they fell off in the water, but it's really unlikely. And he also finds out that, you know what, it doesn't really matter because the case went to Baltimore County because of what side of the bridge she came up on, and that it was Rawls that pushed this case off on Baltimore County. And Landsman explains to McNulty, like he's an idiot, that it's about self-preservation, something you never learned, he says. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you're, I feel like the questions I want to ask, they're all pretty obvious. So I don't know. I'm just going to, because I was like, well, clearly it still showed like McNulty is still murder police.
Yeah, he's still
Cole
police.
is still kind of a,
yes.
Middle of the road kind of homicide detective, things
Yeah.
like that.
And he's like, McNulty's even a little giddy as he walks
Yeah.
into homicide.
Yeah,
You see him
yeah.
like, he's like kind of pumped, like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I'm back. This is another case. I'm
Yep.
really curious about it again. It's the thing that gets him going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, so you picked up on that.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
totally,
Oh,
dude.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's interesting. Okay.
He's straight up giddy about this
Sure.
murder.
Yeah. So I want to just call out Winona.
Yeah.
Did you notice her as he walked into
Oh,
homicide?
yeah. She's just McNulty
Yeah.
or how you been or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he says, hi Winona. Now, it's easy to miss, but after he walks by, Winona just stares at.
I know she's looking him down.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did. Okay,
I
so
did.
you saw
I
it.
was like,
Okay.
that's interesting.
That was just hilarious. I mean, and she just unabashedly, like as a
well, he's the best looking guy in that.
Yeah,
office.
fair enough. So, and then meanwhile, Landsman is eating fiddle faddle.
What is that? What he was eating? I thought he was eating like a box of cereal or something.
I mean, it's effectively the same thing. It's
Okay.
obviously the same form factor, but
Okay.
fiddle faddle, I looked it up, is
Yeah?
like it's like a flavored popcorn. So it's like kind of caramel
okay.
popcorn kind of thing. So
Okay.
I thought it was just a term for whatever, right? It's just
Yeah.
like junk food or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually
It's
a
an
brand,
actual
so which I
snack.
thought was kind of funny. And God,
That's awesome.
Landsman is he's just, I mean, he's a lovable character too, but man, he
is.
is so disgusting.
Oh, he is so disgusting. Oh my gosh, he is.
You know, and again, I guess it just kind of reinforces what we talked about, I think, in the first episode of season 1, which is they want to solve the case, but if they can unload it on somebody else, then so much the better.
Exactly.
Whereas McNulty's like, no, I want to solve the case. I know
Yeah.
I'm in the Marine unit,
Mystery's
but I don't
on.
care. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that covers McNulty back in homicide.
Yeah, well, he doesn't like that Rawls has pawned it off on Baltimore County, and so you see him next, like mapping the currents. Like he's got these maps in front of him, and he's doing some marking of X's. We assume it's the location of the body and possibly the location of where the body must have gone into the water, and he then faxes it, I assume, to Baltimore County. And so we kind of hold off for a moment there. We go next to Kima, who comes home to Cheryl, and they are just as cute as ever. Oh my God, I love them so much. And we find out that they're trying to get pregnant. Cheryl wants to get pregnant. It is very expensive. There are some jokes about the potential suitors and who would do them with the other person's pee and who would not. Yeah, P word. It's adorable though. I love them. You can tell Kima, she comes in and she's just like, that was a day.
Yeah.
And then, Cheryl's so sweet, and you can see why Kima wants to make her happy.
Yep.
Yep.
So I did not understand, though, why Cheryl was saying that would be up to you. And then she drops a line, not even with your pee would I.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I don't get what that's supposed to mean.
I don't know either.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't.
Well, is it because like one is carrying the baby and the other one gets to pick who the donor is?
I don't think so.
No, that doesn't make a lot of
So
sense.
I don't know. That part still didn't quite follow. But I mean, I'm sure it was related. It's based in reality.
Right.
To me, I never didn't quite understand why there was. If Cheryl's the one who's planning on getting inseminated,
Yeah.
why? What role does Kima have in that? I guess is
Yeah.
So anyway, or maybe they're talking about actually her having sex with a man. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I don't know. Yeah, I wondered that, or else they were talking about like how expensive it was, and were they talking about, do we know somebody who would be a donor?
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's.
Yeah. That would then
Oh, that's
actually
interesting.
do the deed.
I don't know, and I think what's best we just leave. Neither of us being lesbians. I think we just
exactly.
leave it there.
Should just let that go.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay. So final thing with the team here is, we go back to homicide and Rawls is, pissed, delightfully pissed maybe, that the floater has come back now as their responsibility, thanks to McNulty's, work on the currents. And she goes as a Jane Doe up on the wall. And it's, I guess, back to being Cole's case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. That's where the team is now.
Yep,
Jump
pretty
up.
much. I just wrote down for that scene, fucking McNulty.
Fucking McNulty.
Yeah.
Still just screwing him.
Yeah.
Not in homicide anymore. It's still finding a way to screw him.
Yep.
Good. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and so I think for you, like, you have a lay of the land of the whole police unit and kind of where all the different stories are from that carried over from the previous
Still,
season.
still a couple that I'm, looking to see and wondering where they are, but I'm sure they'll come up in the next couple episodes.
Okay. Anything that you remember from season 1 where you're like, I wonder what happened there, or you feel like it's nothing sticking out?
Nothing is sticking out. I just the person who is trying Bird's case, the lawyer is not Rhonda though, right? It's the other one, Eileen.
Eileen
Yeah.
Nathan.
Okay, that's right. Okay, just trying to keep track of that.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
she doesn't come up too much.
Yeah.
The bird scene, or excuse me, the bird trial is probably where you see her the most.
Okay.
Yeah. So she'll be, her name will be known G pretty well by the end of that. But yeah, she was only in a couple of scenes in the first season. So
All right.
yeah. Okay, well that's the police. So now
Yeah, speaking about
move on.
birds, should we go to Avon's crew?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we start out here with Bodhi and another driver in a white van. Do we know who this driver is? Do I know him from previous?
You do not. He is a new character. His name is Shamrock.
Okay, Shamrock. And we know they are either in or headed to Philly, it seems like, because the radio's not working. They end up listening to some like radio program about tomatoes growing in hot, humid summers. I don't know. It was really,
You didn't get it?
No,
Okay, that's fine. Keep going because there's a funny detail about that.
I was like, what the heck why are they listening to this?
Yep.
Anyways, they end up going to a parking garage and Bodhi goes into the parking garage. He has a remote key for a car there. He gets into it and he writes down the mileage that's on the odometer, puts it on a little pad of paper, puts it in the glove compartment, and he takes off. Okay. Bodhi seems to be following some very careful directions as he drives, but there is a road closure that ends up changing his route. And we see too that they are followed by a third car, a black SUV.
Yep.
Okay. They end up in a body shop and you see the whole interior of the car is like all over the place. It's completely deconstructed, and we find out like they've been looking for some drugs or something somewhere in the vehicle, and they are nowhere to be seen. They are freaking out. They're like, check it again, and they're not very happy about this, and it's taking a while. So one of the guys from the black SUV then comes out, spies on him through the window, and he can kind of tell what's going on with these guys. They are. Do you want me to pause at all? Do you have anything that you want to share up to this point, or shall I keep on going with what's going on with Bodhi and the crew?
Keep going.
Okay, so they're freaked out to talk to Stringer, which they rightly should be because we've seen at least what Avon would do when people messed up things. They don't want to tell him that there's no drugs.
Yep.
But they got to now. So apparently they give him a call and we see them in a funeral home. And we remember from last season that this is the new center of operations is the funeral home, right? They don't have the strip club anymore. Stringer is, as always, well, he's not counting the money. He's watching the money be counted this time. Right. He is dressed so nicely in this dapper brown shirt, and he is drinking a mug of tea. So civilized. Anyways, the guys, they're kind of separated out, and you take it that they're being talked to separately, but their stories all match. And Bodhi ends up finding out that Stringer had them followed purposefully to make sure that they were doing the right thing. And because of this, and because all of their stories line up, he knows that they were not lying. And so, something else is going on. Bodhi was freaked out, but it's okay. They don't know where the drugs are, but something is up. It's not because any of them took it. So,
Yeah. Okay. So I'll step in here because I think that I just remember when I first watched this, I don't think it was clear at all to me what was happening, and they spent a lot of time on this one storyline to, I think ultimately it's setting up stuff obviously for later in the season, but the fact that you have this third car following, and I'm like, who the heck
I know,
are
I
these
was like,
guys?
is that the police? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't know what's going on, and you didn't know until they're in the funeral home that they were part of the Barksdale organization. So I think to some degree I was like, oh, is there going to be a gunfight or something like this related? So but as you said, so that is someone that Stringer references when he's talking to Avon. We'll get to that in a second. But the Tank and Country are in the third car, are in the Lincoln Navigator, whatever that is, and they are following. I wanted to just mention the radio program that Bodhi turns to is Prairie Home Companion, which is on.
I was like, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah,
okay.
Which is on
the
it.
voice.
Yes,
Garrison Keillor.
Exactly.
Oh,
yes.
God,
Exactly.
I can't believe
exactly.
I just pulled that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what was hilarious about that is that he's listening to it on in the van as he's just trying to find a station, and he's like, "What the hell are we listening to here?" And then when he gets in the car, it's also playing.
Yes.
And now I always assumed that it was just on, but I think
he went back to
the story is that he went to find out like what happened with these tomatoes.
Oh my gosh.
I like that way more.
Okay.
So I think that's just hilarious.
Yes,
so.
I did notice it was the same, and I don't know, I didn't put two and two together, but that is so funny.
Yeah.
That was Prairie Hawk.
Yeah, exactly. So, and so,
bizarre.
ultimately, what even again, so you picked up that they were looking for drugs. I don't know. Did you know that at the time, or was it only after Stringer went to see Roberto that you figured out that whole thing was
No, I
a
felt
setup?
pretty strongly at the time that they were
Okay.
looking for drugs because
Okay.
I mean, if they're taking the whole car apart like that, they're thinking that it's taped
Yeah.
inside,
Okay.
The door or something like that, behind the panel or whatever. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah. I obviously, you were right on the money. I'm trying to. I think that in my memory, I think I didn't know what they were looking for, and so when Bodhi says "where it at," I was like, "What the hell is he
Where's
talking
that?
about?" And then
Yeah.
they just shift over. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So okay. Yeah, you got it. I think those are all the. Oh. Yeah, just think I wrote this down as well because I love that Shamrock says there be the exit, and Bodhi says take that shit. So I just recommend that if you're ever in the passenger seat and you say there's the exit, take that shit. Just say it. That's you have my permission. Even if kids are in the car, I recommend
I'm
it.
gonna
So
say that the next time in the car with your wife. and
there you
she's
go. Oh,
driving.
perfect. Yeah, she'll be so confused. Yeah, it's Ellie can get away with something like that, but it's not necessarily on brand. So okay.
Oh,
All right, cool.
All right, well, let's keep moving on here because Stringer then goes to visit Avon in jail. And, he tells him they haven't heard from Roberto
Mm-hmm.
and that it's time to go visit Roberto. And I think, is Roberto in New York? Or I couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Avon's taking the train
Yep.
then to New York. And I will, not Avon, sorry, Stringer's taking the train to New York. Before that happens, though, there is a moment where Stringer asks Avon how he's doing, how he's holding up. And, Avon says something like, I don't know, you get your head right, then you only spend 2 days.
Yep.
And here, the day you come in and the day you leave.
Yep.
So,
What's happening, man?
What's up, fam?
All right. So what's up? You ain't heard from Roberto yet?
Not a goddamn word, man.
Billy, still got our money though, right? So you need to get down to New York, man. What kind of game this nigga playing? You sure of our people?
I broke down all these stories and they came back clean. Besides, I had some good people watching.
Oh yeah? Who?
Tank, Country,
How long that motherfucker been home?
a month, still
Yeah.
on parole. He said, fuck that, straight back in the mix.
All right. So good, it ain't on us, it's on Roberto. Set it straight, you know what I mean? So when you go holler at 'em, man, take it light, but be firm. They got our money and we ain't got the product. So, you feel me? The shit ain't right.
They fixed in here otherwise, B.
This ain't no thing, man. You know what I mean? When you come in here, man, you get your mind right. Get in here, you do 2 days. That's the day you come in this motherfucker.
And then the day you get out, this motherfucker.
That's right. Exactly.
yeah, Avon's still Avoning.
Pretty much.
Wherever he goes. But Stringer's going to New York, and he goes to New York. He meets with Roberto's lawyer, and we find out that there wasn't drugs in the car because Roberto's been targeted by the DEA. And the lawyer says, hey, we're sending the money back to Baltimore. You're going to get your money back. And it seems to intimate that it is Stringer and Avon's crew that, is why they are, on DEA's radar. And mainly because Avon got kind of a lenient sentence for the crimes, the scale of the operation he had going. And so they are worried that he has potentially cooperated with the police.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of complexity there either. I think the only thing would be is like, if you didn't know who Roberto was, and
Yeah.
Roberto was mentioned at the end of season 1 as well.
Yeah.
Right, when they were saying like, let's get back,
Right.
Brianna goes, let me get up to Roberto.
Yeah.
And then she'll talk to Dee, and so this is the lawyer now that is representing Roberto.
Yes.
So yeah, they said they had that connection before, seemingly between the summer, and now the relationship has, Roberto has run into these problems, and now they're changing the pattern, as the lawyer says. So.
Exactly.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. Well, last we see of Avon's crew here, Bodhi's in the project. He's got a new crew of boys working under him. They are kind of worked up. They're concerned that they don't have as much money as they should, I guess.
Enough
or product.
enough product.
Enough product. And they instantly want to go to resorting to violence or beating somebody up because of what they don't have and what they think they should have. And Bodhi says, trust Stringer, that if we don't have that, that's because Stringer wants it that way.
Yep.
The count is right. What's on the shelf?
Meat's carrying 10 down here, so Mo Man holding about 38 up top.
I checked the stash, yo. But we way low. Mo Man taking our shit. What he holding? Yo, he said he holding about 30-something, but I know that ain't right. I'ma fuck him up, yo. First thing you think to do is fuck a nigga up, man. When your brick brain gonna realize there's more to this here than just stumping on niggas. What Mo supposed to be holding?
38, there about.
Ain't you the damn fool. But then we low. Look, nigga, if we low, it's cause String want us that way. Alright, when he want us up, we'll be up. String is on top of this shit. He on top of everything. Back to your spot, man.
It's a kind of interesting way to just sum up that.
Yeah, I mean, so Bodhi's, to me, I don't know if I'm projecting a ton, but I think that the fact that Stringer was messing with him at the end, I think that really brought Bodhi sort of closer. Now Bodhi's really would step up for Stringer and say, like, no, you got to trust that this is the way it's supposed to be, because Stringer is aware, he's got all this sort of stuff figured out. And so to me, that's it kind of, to me, like, solidifies that relationship. Whereas I feel like before, when it was Bodhi and in the pit with D'Angelo, I don't know that you had that level of trust, right?
No, I think so. Well, I mean, Bodhi was always second guessing what D'Angelo was doing.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. In this case, he's definitely not.
Yeah.
No.
And meanwhile, you have, I think, what represents a little bit of growth from Bodhi, in that this guy who comes up, who I don't know his name, and says, we low. Yeah. He's holding out on us. I'm gonna go fuck him up, and he's like, why is that the first thing you go to, right? And if you pick an example, but Wallace was playing with that transformer, and Bodhi picks up a bottle and hurls at his head.
You're so right.
You're like, what the hell is wrong with you? And now he's like,
that is a little maturation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go fuck that guy up. Well, just tell me what happens afterwards. Yeah. And, but he's just like, no, let's just be smart about this to figure this out. So it does show that Bodhi is really trying to grow as a person. So just kind of interesting. And I guess, and then of course I have to give credit to JD Williams. His spit game is just A+. I think it's gross, but the fact that he's able to spit through his teeth and
very,
just aggressively, it's really something.
Well practiced.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Spitting's gross.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, should we move over now to this shipyard crew?
Yep.
Okay. Wow, this was so interesting. This whole new cast of characters. So we're going to start out with Frank. We see this group of, kind of old timer, longshoremen, shipyard workers. They look like they're having a break in a little trailer. And there's an argument going on between two of them, Frank and Nat. And it seems like both of them are maybe union leaders for different, I don't know, like districts or something. I don't know. Or types of work that they do. I was not sure what is the difference between the unions that they are representing.
Yeah, so I'll just lay it out here. So Frank is the head of the Checkers local. And which are the guys, you see his son later punching numbers. Yeah. And then you have the longshoremen who are the ones who unload and load.
Yeah, okay. So, right, that's right, because he's like, you don't remember being down in the holds.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Okay. So that's Nat Coxon. Yep.
Okay, Nat Coxon. Anyways, kind of the two issues they seem to have going on is that the canal needs to be dug deeper. And also rebuilding Grand Pier.
Yep.
Okay. So those are two things that we know need to happen. Frank strikes you kind of instantly as like a really likable character, despite his, crude jokes. And the size of his Johnson and how hard it is. And so, he handles Nat's outburst with, the other guy's like, you just let him shit all over you. And he's kind of like, whatever. Like, he's going to do that.
Yep.
And so you kind of instantly like him, I
think.
Yeah.
Damn, Frank. We just sat here and watched Nat Coxon take a shit all over you. And shriveled dick motherfucker that you are, you take it.
For your information, I wake up every morning with an angry blue vein diamond cutter. I was going to enlighten the president of Local 47 on this particular point. He chose to depart. Blue steel, gentlemen.
For Christ's sake.
3.5 inches of hard blue steel.
Yeah, I'm going to say that if you make a dick joke about how hard your dick is, but then comment about how short it is,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
if anything shorter than 4 inches, that's the proper tone to
Right?
strike.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like, I'm 9 inches.
Yeah.
No, then you sound like an asshole.
Exactly.
But if
It's just the right amount of, self-deprecation.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so to me, this scene, I wanted to ask, I'm sorry if I cut you off. I had to comment on the dick joke.
Yeah.
So, but this actually is a really the context of the scene is really important. And again, I think I want to just pause. I think you understand what's happening, but if you're not following what's happening here, this is like the problem statement for the union that they essentially identified that they're now going to be chasing.
Yes.
And so did you kind of follow what was happening and that kind of thing, or is there?
Well, I think that they're saying like we can't get both to get fixed, and one is more important to me, and you think that this other one's more doable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Nat wants Grand Pier to be built back up.
The grain pier, yeah.
Grain Pier,
Yep.
yeah, Grain Pier. Sorry.
Yep.
Yes.
No, that's good. Yeah. So he does because he thinks that's more achievable.
Right.
But Frank is trying to think long term, and dredging the canal means more ships.
Yes.
So that was like that whole thing. You're only going to get 2 or more, 3 or more crews working those ships.
Yeah.
And if you open up the grain pier, which isn't as much as the number of stevedore or number of union members that they have.
Right.
So Frank is trying to go big.
Yeah.
And Nat is trying to say, look, let's just get what's achievable.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like both are proper, but it's just important to recognize that there is that tension between the two, and understanding Frank's motivation is just, it's really important to make sure that that's clear as we go forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So we soon meet his nephew, Nick, who also works there. And Frank tells Nick to go see the Greek and get a number. We then also meet Frank's son, Ziggy, who is clearly unorganized and doesn't care a lot about his work.
Yep.
Somebody is there to pick up a shipping container or something. He's been waiting for a long time, and Ziggy cannot find the shipping container, doesn't know where it is. It's not where he thinks it is. And, Frank gets mad, tries to remedy the situation, says he's going to fire Ziggy. And, Ziggy just makes a face, and I think the guy's like, who's this guy? He doesn't even care that he's getting fired.
Yeah.
And the guy who drove Frank over there is like, that's his son. Or no, that's his father.
Yep.
That's Ziggy's father.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I want to pause here. So the guy's name is Lala, is the guy in the cart that's driving Frank to find Ziggy. Which I don't know that they actually make that very clear. So, and I was like kind of mad at him because clearly Frank fired Ziggy to look good for this truck driver. And then immediately Lala is just like, oh, the jig is up. No, he's not actually fired. It's like, what the hell? You just made Frank look like an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was trying to be a nice guy for this truck driver and trying to do right by him. And then it's the whole thing. So nevertheless, now we know who Ziggy is. And, so.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's basically it. So you get a sense of Ziggy, and
I know. And I think at this point we don't know that Nick is his nephew. We just know that Nick works there.
Right.
We find out later that it's his nephew. Next we see Frank at the Catholic church, and he's got a huge wad of money that he's putting into an envelope. And the father comes up and greets him, and takes him to see this stained glass window that depicts a shipyard and these men working there, that was sponsored by, I guess, Frank's union. And they're appreciating it, and the father said how appreciative he is of how much they give. And Frank says, hey, can you do me a favor? I would like to talk to Senator Barbara Mikulski, maybe.
Sure.
Or I think that's.
I honestly
Okay.
don't know that I
Okay.
ever picked up the actual name. So.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, he's somebody who donates a lot of money to the church, and at this point, he's asking for a favor from the father because Senator Barber goes to church for particular Polish services, and the father does ask him at the end if he's been to confession. And it's pretty clear that he has not been to confession for a while, which gives you the idea that he is engaged in some shady business.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because he just kind of laughs it off, like he's definitely not going to go to confession.
Yep. So I think that again, it sounds like it's clear to you what the whole purpose of the window was and all that stuff. Okay. Yeah,
yes.
I mean you're on it. So, but just for those who might not have been clear, Frank is essentially trying to gain access by making this donation.
Yep.
Is all that kind of comes down to.
That's
So,
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so and oh no, we don't talk about where the other window is. So that's kind of a separate thing. So, but in the nave, so I thought I understood this, but like in the nave, it's like one of the windows that is very apparent from when you walk in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It is.
It's hard to know where the geography of the church is and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That pretty much covers the father. I forget father something.
Yeah. I
forgot his name.
I don't know that I caught his name ever.
Yeah. Now I got to look it up. But in any case, yeah. All right. Let's keep going then.
All right. Well, let's see here. All of these guys are at a bar, and let me see here. Ziggy is bugging Nick. He wants to go with him to meet the Greek, and throughout the shenanigans going on at the bar, we see that he's got a big personality. He's like this big old crazy irreverent guy, and at some point the old timers and the younger guys are like arguing about how it is and the way it was. There's a lot of crass jokes. Ziggy starts telling a story and eventually ends up whipping his dick out, even though the bartender is like, don't take your dick out again. He does it anyways. But you see in this moment, you see Nick's face, and he's smiling, and you can tell that he really likes this guy. He cares about him and finds him to be, I don't know, like
he's a lunkhead kind of.
Yeah, exactly, like a lovable idiot. Yeah.
Okay, so again, yes, I have to ask because first time through, I don't think I knew what was happening. There's so much crosstalk going on that I was not sure I was clear.
Yeah.
This is where Little Big Roy says, ain't never going to be like it was.
This is where it happened. There is so much talk going on. I did
Exactly.
not catch
Yeah,
this.
he just says it kind of offhand under not under his breath, but it's just like it just gets lost in the wash. And so, but of course they're all reminiscing about that.
Right.
And that was the whole point of Ziggy's whole like thing was all these guys are talking about how much greater they were back in the day. And so, and then he has to like, basically whip out his dick to say, here's something you guys couldn't handle when you guys were unloading all these things. So, but when you're watching the first time, you're like, wait, he just whipped his dick? What the hell is that? So,
it's so bizarre, but I knew a guy in college that would just whip his dick out every once in a while. He would put it over his wrist and then ask people what time it was.
No shit.
Yes, for real.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
I know. So that didn't totally like blow my mind that this guy was doing that in a bar.
Okay.
I've seen it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Nobody did that when you were going to college.
Well, I went to a liberal arts school. We don't tolerate that kind of nonsense. So I gotta add, like, were you like, was it just like, oh God, did you whip your dick out?
Yes,
again?
exactly.
Okay,
That's basically what it was like. God damn it!
Interesting.
Like, would you please put it back in your pants?
Okay, I mean, so he was a shower, I guess, is what I'm taking away from it.
I guess he thought he was.
Okay. No, fair enough. Okay. Let's leave it there. How fake on a scale of 1 to 10 did you consider Ziggy's dick?
It's so fake.
Okay, good enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. There was something for all the pieces of matter. Maybe I'll bring it up in the next episode because I didn't have a chance to look at it. But there was there's a whole comment about him getting suited up for that, which is kind of funny.
Oh my God, really? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do you anything else about the bar? There are a couple
I will
of them.
say, there's a rock version of 16 Tons that's going on in the background, which is pretty cool. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you recognize the song?
Yeah, I
oh,
did.
Cool.
It's a coal miners song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was. I thought that was appropriate for that moment. Guys work in this particular line.
Yeah. There's one part that just like the whole thing. Like, believe it or not, I find this more cringy than Ziggy whipping his dick out. Nick is making this face while the music is going, and it's not white man's overbite. It's something worse. It's just the weirdest face, and I hate it. I hate it. Oh yeah.
That.
We'll have to post it to the socials. Don't ever
see.
make this face when you're seeing. Okay. But it was very frustrating. And then I was like, how did Ziggy end up asleep on the couch?
I know.
When he clearly that girl was hot for him. Like, he had to have closed the deal with her. Like,
I don't think so.
No. Oh, okay.
He probably did something stupid in the
All
last
right.
minute.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's probably true. So, he would be the kind of guy who would fuck something like that up. That was clearly in the bag.
Right.
So,
right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I think that covers everything. I might as well mention here. The band was called the Nighthawks.
Oh.
And what is kind of hilarious is that behind them in the shot is a website. And this is 2003. So the fact that they had a website in 2003, I think says something. So good job, Nighthawks. Hopefully you got some traffic based on this this episode. So, okay. I think that's it.
Yeah. So next morning, Nick wakes up. Ziggy's still passed out on the couch, as you mentioned. And we see he's like living at home. His mom's there in the kitchen. He's pretty old to be living at home still, which kind of gives you an idea of like how much these guys are not working and are not making, basically, right? So it's kind of a, close to poverty situation. All right, we move on now. We're back at the church, and guess who's there? It's Commander Valchek.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And he brings a big donation and his own stained glass window for the nave. That was already filled by Frank. Anyways, he is clearly disappointed. But more than that, he's just like, he cannot believe that these union guys were able to pull this together and then also go higher than a $4,000 donation, and he's like, they barely got 100 guys paying dues in this union. Like, how's that possible? How are they making this kind of money? And basically, the father says, why don't you guys talk to each other, and leaves it at that.
Yep.
So we'll see if they talk to each other. Doesn't happen in this episode.
Nope.
Okay. Let's see here. Nick is on his way to see the Greek now. As he walks by, he does pass a sign for condos on the pier, which is kind of prominently put out there. Yeah, because that's something that they mentioned earlier, like this is going to turn into condos if we don't do something about it. He talks to another guy there, and they're talking about how, if they're getting hours and stuff. Like, this is kind of recurring. You get this idea that if you don't have seniority, this could be a good gig if you can get it, but if you don't have the seniority, if you haven't been around long enough, you're just not going to get that time. You're not going to get that hours. You have a ranking in the union.
Yeah, and it's Nick mentioned something similar to it. It kind of reinforced it, but he's like first time I've gotten a job in 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could work here, but it's all the way out in this place.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
So hard stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we already got to the part where his car didn't start, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I didn't mention that. But
No,
yes,
that's okay.
Ziggy ends up picking him up in his nice, fast-looking car.
Yeah.
And, says, I'll give you a ride. Basically insists his way into coming with Nick to go see the Greek. So they end up meeting the Greek. And they also meet Boris, who's actually not Russian. He's Ukrainian, and who's actually not named Boris. He's named Sergey.
Yep.
Who's your friend?
Oh, he's Zig, my uncle's kid.
Your uncle?
Frankie, yeah. Ziggy's his oldest. My car broke down, He drove it.
So, you must be the Greek.
Well, I'm Greek anyway.
Hey, Boris Badenoff. I know from 9/1, right?
Why am I Boris? I don't understand this. Everywhere I'm Boris.
Shit, you're Russian, right?
No, Ukraine. Kiev is Ukraine.
It's the same difference, though.
No, you're wrong. What's the matter? You don't like being called Boris? Sorry.
Oh, no way, man. Boris is way better. It's like the guy from the cartoon. Boris and Natasha. Bullwinkle, man. Rocky and Bullwinkle.
You want some coffee? Bye.
Nah, I'm good.
Actually, what kind of pie you got?
Hey, Zig. Shut the fuck up, huh?
Anyways, so in this meeting, Ziggy is he's talking way too much. You know, Nick says, don't talk at all. And Ziggy is already talking way too much to the point that, you know, Nick sort of kicks him out of the meeting. So Ziggy goes and sits at the counter. He's clearly listening into the conversation. But what happens at the table is that the Greek slips a paper to Nick and says, same deal, same way.
Mm-hmm.
So, they say there's going to be the same driver, too. It's going to be Sergey, a.k.a. Boris.
Yeah.
And Nick is concerned about that. He's like, you should, you know, change it up a little bit or else Customs is going to start noticing that you have the same person coming all the time. But, you know, the Greek says, you know, you trust a man, you stay with him. And so that kind of ends the meeting there. As they go out, Zig is telling Nick, you embarrassed me.
Yeah.
When really it's the other way around.
Pretty much.
Know? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's not cringeworthy about what Ziggy's.
It's so cringeworthy.
Like,
but it's like, why does he want to be in on this meeting so much?
It's an excellent question.
Yeah.
We will. Hang on a second. No, we'll learn about it, essentially. So
he's got some idea that this is a way of getting money or something like that. We know he doesn't want to work, and he has like big personality and big taste. So, yeah, it's just interesting.
Well, I mean, and obviously, you know, from later that these guys are involved in some kind of illegal operation.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Let's get to the
shit.
shady shit.
I mean, I guess you're right. Like, so why Ziggy wants to be involved is not. It's not clear.
It's not clear
based on this. Other than you know, it could be a couple things. I think there's the illegal side of things.
Yeah.
Who knows what he's thinking about there? At least at this point. But also, you know, Nick has this authority, right? He's got this. Oh,
and
I'm
it's
important.
not. He's not the son of Frank, right? He's Frank's nephew. This is his cousin, and he's the eldest boy. Like, why isn't he getting this sort of responsibility?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we know why, because he's a fucker.
Right.
What are you gonna do? Okay. All right. Driving around the shipyard now is Beatty. Okay, so this is an officer with the Maryland Port Authority. And I don't even think that we know what her name is in this episode. I had to look it up because I didn't know how to refer to her. I don't know that she ever gets called Beatty in this.
I think you're right. I think Frank refers to her as Darlin.
Yes.
And,
yes. She seems to have a good relationship with Frank. You know, they kind of joke around with each other. She says, you know, tell me what I'm going to put in my report about what you guys stole today.
Yep.
Hey, Frank.
Hey, darling.
Just so I can finish my paperwork early, what exactly are you people going to be stealing today?
I don't know. A couple luxury sedans, some color TVs, widescreen, maybe a couple cans of vodka, maybe a whole container ship.
Okie dokie. Y'all have a good one.
Anyways, they kind of go back and forth. She puts her headphones on and leaves. And, you know, they're like, oh, you going to let her talk to you like that? Like, I like her, you know. Anyways, so Frank then watches as a mystery container gets dropped off. And he's kind of looking intently at it, poking his head out the trailer, and watching this. And then Sergey comes, but Sergey is not taking the container for some reason. He's just been there for a while. Nothing's happening. And then finally he like talks on the phone, and then he just like Frank is about to go out and talk to him like, are you gonna take this container or what? And then Sergey just leaves. And Frank's like, well, you know, is this some, you know, we're going to get in trouble. You need to hide it among the other shipping containers. So we assume that that's been done. Later, we see Beatty driving among the containers, and she sees that, I guess it's the customs seal that has been broken on that shipping container. So she parks, she opens up the doors. You see a whole bunch of boxes. She climbs over some boxes. There's like a kind of latched door in the back. And then she opens that door, and you see a dead body. And it's another woman. So we have one woman that was found in the water. We have this other woman in here. And, you know, we go back to the trailer. Frank and all these old timers are joking around. Suddenly we hear sirens. And we find out, we go back to the shipping container, it's not one woman. It is tons of women's dead bodies, all just like, you know, in a jumbled mass in there. And they kind of, at the end, zoom in on Frank's panic-stricken face and then pan out on the shipyards. And da-da-da.
That's it.
That's it. Ooh.
So
creepy. That was a creepy scene, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you caught already right away the connection to the woman in the water and the women in the containers.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got a white woman that is in the water, white woman in the container, then you open it up, and I mean, there's like one Asian woman, but most of them look like they're white women in the shipping container too. So yeah.
Well, so just, you know, I won't give anything else away, but that is an interesting connection.
Yeah.
I think that some viewers might not make that connection the first time they're watching. They're just like, oh, these are two unrelated events.
Yeah.
We will see how they are, if and how they are.
Right.
So, but well done there. And so let me just back up a little bit, see if there's anything else. No, I think that you covered pretty much everything. I'm not sure that there's much else that we need to cover from that. But now you have essentially all these you have multiple inciting events across the three threads, essentially, right? You have the murder of, the murder of the woman in the water. You have the Barksdale organization doesn't have a drug connect anymore, and now you have these dead women in the container. So and the dock workers are being responsible.
All this
so
stuff gonna fit together.
Yeah. So and I think that we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I just, in re-listening to our episodes from the first season, we talked. We this is the pattern that we use, and it's just really beautiful. I think how they have these independent threads that ultimately get woven together, and then you have a tapestry at the end, and they're doing the same thing. And I just feel like it's such a good way to tell a story.
Well,
so
yes, and wanting the canal to be deeper and wanting the grain pier to be fixed up, the pressure of the condos, like that makes me wonder too about because we had the whole thing with the Barksdale organization and the real estate. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. So it just makes me wonder how politics are involved with this as well.
Excellent question. Excellent question. Yes.
So.
Well, you are on it, Detective.
Oh, now
Peterson,
I'm feeling the vibe here. Now I've been through one season, so I'm not such a rookie anymore.
All right. Well, so did you feel? How did you feel about the fact that a lot of your sort of the main characters from the previous episode or previous season were not as well represented here?
I was okay with it. It's been some time since I watched the first season, so I took a little bit of a break. So if I had watched this episode right after the end of the first season, I know I would have been disappointed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I felt such like an affinity for certain characters that I haven't seen yet, and I want to know what happened to them beyond just sort of, knowing that Freeman's in homicide and all that. I want to know what's going on with Chardine, and I don't know if I'll see her again. And so I would have been disappointed. Now I've built in a little bit of distance from them, so it was like, okay, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
But
Okay. So the what was interesting is that the response from actually the actors themselves, they were much more disappointed. So you had a lot of these better known characters, Bubbles and Andre Royo, for example, was really disappointed that he's not in this episode at all.
Yeah.
And he's like, why am I being cut out? And David Simon, as part of that sort of initial other conversation, it's like, you have to trust us, but there's something bigger going on here. And so it's good to know that you weren't turned off by it. Hopefully if you're following along with Ellie as she goes through this, that it's helpful to know that there is a broader there's a broader vision that will be fulfilled, I promise.
Yeah.
But it might feel a little bit like, oh, I like the familiar faces and stuff like that. And so
it helps that these, they did a good job of making sure that this handful of new characters are very compelling.
Yeah.
Like I'm very interested now in Frank and his, kind of crisis that he's got going on. And Edie too is very, mousy looking tiny little thing, and that she's now getting wrapped up in what's going to probably be a murder investigation is interesting as well.
Yep. Yeah. And so I don't know if she had a lot. So the actor's name is Amy Ryan.
Yes.
So you recognize her now.
Yes,
so she's been in a ton of stuff since then.
She's been in a ton of stuff. I love her.
Yeah, but I think this might have been one of her earlier roles.
Oh, is that right?
Of anything. I don't know what she was in before this, but as typical, they pick out actors that are not particularly well known.
I know, and then they make them well known.
Pretty much. Now, I wanted to share this. I might as well share it now. So this was the first season that I remember seeing like ads for. And I recognized the actor who played Frank Sabatka, Chris Bauer, because he was in The Devil's Advocate.
Oh, is that right?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And so he was the pedophile in that, as a matter of fact. So I just recognized him, and I don't know if that affected me, but I remember thinking like, okay, I'm not really interested in the story at the time. And I'm not spoiling. He is so good in this season. It's just an incredible performance by him. But he was somewhat known, so I recognized him when I first saw him. But all of these other guys, like, just no idea who they were. The guy who plays Ziggy, James Ransone, he's been in a few things. Okay. And Pablo Schreiber, who happens to be Leif Schreiber's half brother, I think.
No way.
Yeah, they're related in any case. He's been in a bunch of stuff as well, but this was their first their first real foray into as far as like a significant acting role. So again, one of the things I just love is that it really feels like you're immersed, and yet they're not bringing in well-known actors. They're just getting the most out of these actors that are doing well. So yeah. Okay. So let me just see. So that's the episode, and I think I want to just add, if you don't mind, I'm going to add a couple of other little notes here. So I think I mentioned that, maybe I didn't. So in season 1, the theme song was sung by the Blind Boys of Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about that already, but in any case, you clearly know.
Bit, yeah.
This season, it's sung by Tom Waits, who was the person who actually wrote Way Down in the Hole. So he was the original songwriter. So this is the original. So it's kind of interesting that they didn't have season 1 with the original.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of interesting because, excuse me, that Tom Waits has a very specific content that he writes songs about. And so I'll just pull this thing from this is off his Wikipedia the Wall Street Journal via the Wikipedia. But Waits has composed a body of work that's at least comparable to any songwriters in pop today, a keen, sensitive, and sympathetic chronicler of the adrift and the downtrodden. So just, obviously there's a lot of, sort of poverty, as you mentioned. And so that kind of speaks to that a little bit. So, yeah. And so that stuck out as part of just an interesting shift. And I think that it's funny because, I've watched The Sopranos a couple of times, and you hear the HBO, zoom, and then you hear like the opening beat of the song, and it's the same song, opening for the entire season or series. And this one, they're shifting things around. So, and the fact that you picked up on that, I think is really
at first I was like, is this the same song? And then
yeah,
you pick up that
lyrics are the same, but the singer is different. So and so I think that's you covered a lot of that. A couple of other little notes just to kind of for the setup of the season itself. So, sorry, Nina Noble is an executive producer, and she is an unsung hero here because initially where they were shooting, they're shooting on the docks, obviously. They were initially turned down by the port to shoot there, but they were able to find an open area, unused area, and rent it. Okay. And then as they occupied the space, she had to go to all these meetings with, just about what's going on and just to kind of make sure that they were clear. And she developed all these relationships, and as she developed the relationships and they got better, she was given more access, and they were able to have a lot more freedom about where they were able to shoot, things like that. Because initially the port people were like, who the hell are you guys? And like, why would we give you access to anything and stuff like that? They didn't really go into detail about that, but good job, Nina. Fighting for the truth. Yeah. Rafael Alvarez, he was a writer of one of the stories of season 1. I can't remember who or which episode, but in any case, he was a staff writer, and he actually was informed a lot of the port story because his dad and his grandfather were both heavily involved. And I like the fact that David Simon and Ed Burns are these like guys that are as, they have all this knowledge, and yet they're still willing to learn from somebody younger than them and things like that, which I think is cool. Yeah. And then finally, Norman Noerlein was a researcher, and they were being stonewalled by all the union people.
Oh,
as they're trying to like gather information. And so he ends up going to this meeting with a lot of people from the union, and one of the union heads knew Norman's mom, and Norman's mom was really nice to the union head's mom. and essentially, and just kind of like she had made this connection. So this union head's like, "Oh, are you Phyllis's son?" And he says, "Yes." He's like, "Okay, well, you're good. Well, you guys got you get whatever you need." So just kind of a cool thing, and I like that.
Norman's mom.
Yeah, I like the honor of the union there. So it's kind of funny, and so with all those people, all those pieces kind of coming together, it's kind of cool that now you have this new story. So, and then I just want to mention, like, I don't know officially what a J series is. Nick refers to Ziggy as a J series.
I think he called him an L series.
Oh, L series. Yeah. Sorry. You're right. The guy that Nick meets up with says nothing's going to anybody lower than a J series.
Yeah.
So in any case, L being obviously lower than J. The guy, by the way, is named Johnny 50. You'll learn his name later, but I'll just mention that now because he comes up a couple more times during the season. In any case, so I guess it just assumes, like, if you're an A series, you always get first dibs. Right. B, it's whatever A doesn't take, and all the way down. So that's if you the listener have different understanding, then hey, write into us. Let us know what we got wrong. And I think that pretty much covers the whole episode. Okay, so we get to our other topics. So the Mr. Nugget life lesson. I mentioned the dick joke. Always a good thing. I wasn't sure if the self-preservation lesson from Landsman was a good lesson or a bad one. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, what does self-preservation mean when you're a McNulty who can't, who has an obsession?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like, there is no such thing as self-preservation. So it's not a lesson he can ever learn, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the capability of learning.
I think you're right. You're right. I mean, I guess the thing that, like, I find problematic, you're right about that, is that McNulty can't help himself. He's like an addict, like we talked about. But at the same time, there's something kind of disappointing about handing a murder off to somebody else because you don't want the stat.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I don't know. I don't particularly like that idea either. So it feels like there's a little bit of lack of honor. But to go back to your point, the song that's playing in the Marine office while Jimmy's figuring out the tides and all that stuff is called "My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys."
Oh.
So that kind of, and if you look at the lyrics, just something interesting. But one of the choruses is sadly in search of, but one step back or one step in back of themselves and their slow moving dream. So it's just kind of like more of a tragedy, and the fact that Jimmy is like just he's basically just digging his grave even deeper. He's not doing any good. He's he's just trying to fuck with people. So I guess he just figures he's never getting off the boat. So I don't know. I guess that's a life lesson: is don't just continue to fuck with people for the fun of it.
No, don't. But I think it's not so much. He's not doing this just so much to, like, fuck with Rawls and homicide, but also because if that case comes back, then he has some proximity to it. And it's his obsession. Oh, right?
that's a point.
Like, then he can talk to Bunk about it. Then he can go over and talk to Cole about it and give some feedback if he wants. It's like the only way that he can find out what happens with this,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's a little bit to fuck them too, but I think, more it's because he wants to be connected.
And I guess you could even take that a step further potentially and just say, like, maybe he's like, because he knows Cole isn't going to solve it. Maybe they're going to be like, we need Jimmy to come.
Cole didn't even know there were defensive boots, for gosh sakes.
Right. And so maybe he's hoping that, all right, Jimmy, come on back because we need you to help solve this case.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe so. But I am going to say the one that just came to me, but keep your mouth shut. You're meeting people for the first time. Just keep your mouth shut for a little while.
Louise,
listen.
Ziggy.
Ah, man. God. I mean, if, try to just keep quiet. I don't know.
Do you think Nick's mom really made him breakfast?
I would think so. I don't, yeah.
Or is he just saying that as a power play?
That's a good question.
Yeah, bacon, eggs, and everything.
Yeah. I wonder.
I don't think she did.
You don't think so?
I don't think she did.
Oh, okay. Huh. That's an interesting question. I totally think she did.
Yeah, I was his auntie, I would not make him breakfast.
Okay. Really?
Like, get the fuck out of my house. Just kidding.
Interesting. I mean, it is curious. Why is she over at his house?
I know.
Or why is he over
Over
at her
her
house
house.
instead of at his own
Yeah,
own dad's
his
house?
own
Go live with your
dad's
dad. I
house.
don't know.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. I don't know that I ever thought about was he telling the truth or not? I think he was.
Okay.
I think he was because I think Nick was so disappointed that his mom made
Really?
breakfast. Yeah. No fucking way.
You'll never know.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to next topic is our killer cameos. I honestly didn't have a lot. I love Winona.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have a big enough part for me to have an impact.
Yeah.
So, it was Father Lewandowski. He's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Lewandowski.
Yeah.
That's his name. Okay.
But the person I liked the most was the guy who was going to go fuck up Mo Man. I don't know why. It's like, I'm gonna fuck him up, yo. I'm like, oh,
he had
man.
a lot of energy.
Yeah. I mean, he was really bringing in, but I don't know. There was a lot of people, but I feel like, all the guys in the bar, but none of them really had an impact. He was the guy that really stood out to me, but
Yeah.
I'm not happy with Super
Yeah. It's not a whole lot of good cameo stuff going on.
Yeah. I mean, Sergey, well, he doesn't get it because he'll come up later. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, of course, not a cameo, but you can't mess up Ukraine and Russia. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Come on.
I guess in 2003 you could.
Maybe,
but,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that gets us to the end of our topics, but of course we have two more. How well did the episode hold up for you?
I can't make a judgment quite yet. I think I got to know a little bit more about the issues that are going on to see if I think that there are still really relevant issues. And I don't know. Maybe I need to know more about unions and what's going on with all that.
That is the correct answer.
Okay.
I wrote it. No, I wrote it down here. That is but no, actually, it's actually really it's a good job because I mean, yes, it is hard to know just with this one episode.
Yeah.
To know because this is really just part of a bigger picture.
So I'm gonna hold on.
Good job.
Okay.
Good job. Okay, and then of course,
Thank you.
Yes. Now of course we have to get to predictions. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh boy. So I think Beatty and McNulty are gonna meet in the next episode.
Okay.
And I think that they're gonna be. I don't know if they're necessarily going to be connecting the one in the water with what happened, but somehow McNulty's going to get roped in because of his experience with homicide. I don't know if he's going to, wheedle his way into this case or if he's going to be assigned to it or what. Well, no, because she's Maryland Port Authority and he is. He's Baltimore police.
Baltimore police.
Yeah. So they're okay. But somehow I think that they're going to meet. I'm not sure on the other fronts. Well, I mean, Frank is going to get grilled. And I wonder what's going to happen there.
Okay.
Does he start giving some more information? He doesn't seem like a bad guy to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the whole Roberto and where's the drugs situation, I'm not sure. I don't have a prediction for that one yet.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, but there's going to be some follow up on the Barksdale organization.
Yeah.
But you're not exactly sure.
They got to get their money back, and then they got to figure out if they can either convince Roberto that they are safe to give drugs, to sell drugs to, or find something else. Oh wait, if they find something else, and then maybe they have to use the shipping containers to. Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Those are. I mean, you've got a couple in here that are already. You got a lot of detail, so good job there. Yeah, I'm just thinking. So you're focused on McNulty, and Beatty, and nothing else about the police, the rest of the police force.
No, not yet.
Okay,
not for me.
That's totally fine.
Oh yeah, I guess because the Gant case, we got to figure out where that evidence went.
Yeah, good one.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just predict they're not going to find it in the evidence locker.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a good point. I did want to mention, of course, like this a little reminder about how the writers do is that while Daniels and Bunk and Burns are all tearing up the evidence locker, Bodie and Shamrock and the other guys are all tearing up the car in the garage. Yeah. There's got those parallels. It's not
true.
just So thought that was kind of interesting. But yes, where is the evidence in the Gant case? I think that's a good call out though to understand
where that is.
Yep. Okay, well that's it.
Okay.
So, thank you, Ellie, for episode
Hey, man,
1 in
we're
the books,
back.
and we're gonna keep going now.
Yeah.
Now we're excited. Now it's we can't stop this train now.
Nope.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you, Ellie, as always.
Thank
Wonderful
you, Chris.
episode. Okay, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
The Wired and Rewired podcast is Ellie Peterson and me, Chris Aronchek. Our theme song is Nice Vibes by Neon Beach. Want to holler at us? You can email us at wiredandrewired@gmail.com or hit us on the burner at 240-488-0060 to leave us a voicemail. We're Wired and Rewired on all the socials. And of course, if you like the show, please give us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps other Wire fans discover the show. And until next time.
Yo, that'd be the exit. Take that shit.